Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn, on this Monday, the 7th day of October in the year of 2024, the 21st century, believe it or not. As you see, I have a wonderful guest that's going to be coming on. She's been here before. She's talked about several things. This time she's going to be talking about the crypto. There's a thing we talked about before, real estate and things like that, but she's a mindset and financial coach as far as I'm concerned. But before we bring her on, I do want to let you know that King Simon is having his event coming up Sunday to honor and give you tribute to Baba Dick Gregory. And that's going to be this coming Sunday. Also, I was at Nicholas, Brooklyn yesterday. It was very nice. The people there were so nice. Monique and Kafunya I've just been blessed to meet very, very nice people. So it was very nice. And also, Miss Kimberly of Manifest on Purpose. She's stretching out with a lot of her programs. I'll talk about that later. I'm going to try to get her on the show. Also, Brother Viza Islam and his supplements. Okay. And it is about when you go and click on the QR code and the coupon is numbers, you'll get a discount. And before I bring on my very wonderful guest, let me tell you this. First of all, please like, share, and subscribe. I always forget that. I get right into it's Monday the 7th or whatever, but it is Monday, October the 7th, 2024. The sun is in Libra, the moon is in Sagittarius. It's a 9 universal month. It's an 1 universal week. It's a 7 universal day. For those that are under the signs of Pisces or Cancer, or if you're born on the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th, well, without question, this is your day. So, everybody, I do want to thank you very much for joining me. Um, pretty much the last month into this, been talking about finances because it is eight universal year that we're wrapping up. So I just figured that why not talk about some of these things. And then I had the good luck of coming across this beautiful mindset coach. Her name is Porcha Cooper, and she got me straight. And I mean, this we're going to talk about before. Let me do this without further ado. Um, Hello, Portia.
Hey, good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I saw you interviewed on another show, and
Mhm.
I got a little jealous because you said something on that show that you didn't say on my show. You know how people do. I said,
Uh-oh, I'm in
Taylor.
trouble now.
No,
What
no,
did I say? What I do?
no. You had a wealth thermostat. You gave an illustration of a person coming to this country. Can you explain that, please, so people can begin to raise their wealth thermostat if they're about really serious about making more money in their lives? Can you explain that little
Oh, for
story?
sure. Well, this is a good way to kick off the show. Yeah, and
Mhm.
thank everybody for tuning in. I really do appreciate the love and support that I'm getting through the chat. Um, but yeah, all of us have a threshold when it comes to money, and it's been set probably since childhood. Depending on what your background is, your parents may have thought a little money was a lot of money. Like they may have gotten $100, like, oh, we got a lot of money now, and so as a child, you think $100 is a lot of money. And so you get stuck with that as being your threshold. Like, oh, if I get $100, then I'm gonna be balling, right? I can go here, I can go there, I can do this, I can do that. You feel like the world is your oyster at this point. So the
Mhm.
illustration that I made during that interview was the man that came over from another country. Because here in America, we have so many opportunities that we don't even see it because they're right in front of our face every day. That's why other people from other countries are dying to get here because they're taking opportunities that we don't see. And so we had a guy that came in from another country, and he thought that $50,000 was it. Like if he made $50,000, he could just retire. He could do whatever he wanted in life. And so he got a sales job because he knew that in sales there's no limit to how much you can make. Right? Any sales job that you have usually is commission based, or you earn some kind of commission where it's unlimited. Well, he thought that he can get a sales job and he makes his $50,000, and he would hit that limit, time and time again, and then he would slack off from working. Right? He wouldn't put in as many phone calls, wouldn't come into the office as much because he felt like he had arrived at his goal. Until he realized, talking to a colleague of his in the office, that This guy was hitting $100,000 sales every year, and they were, mystified as to how he was doing this, and that just blew his mind because he never thought about $100,000. His mind was only set on the $50,000, and there were people in the office making 80, 100,000 plus, but he would only set himself at the 50,000. And so once he realized that there was more to be obtained, his abundance mindset opened up, and then he was able to hit higher goals. But you have to be aware that the higher goal is even there to begin with, right? It all starts with the awareness. His awareness was keeping him at a low level because he thought that 50,000 was just a plateau, right? Once he hit that, that was good. And he would subconsciously start slacking off from work, going into the office, stop making the calls. And we do this on purpose. Now, a lot of us, especially in the minority category, have had a lot of generational issues when it comes to money and feelings of unworthiness, not deserving it, right? Who am I to try to get rich when my family or my lineage has never, nobody in my
Mhm.
family's ever had money? Who am I to have more than anybody else? And then a lot of us have a small mindset where we try to play it small because we want to fit in with everybody. So those kind of mindsets limit how much you're going to make because you're filtering the abundance that's there for you.
I think that's amazing. So what you're saying in essence, the level that we set in our mind, we don't go any further than that. So you talked about a wealth thermostat. Can you explain that?
So your wealth thermostat is the number that you see in my. Let's do this. Everybody, close their eyes, right, and think of a number. How much money you want in your bank account, right? And once you think of that number, I want you to increase that number by 10,000. Then I want you to increase that number by 20,000. Then increase that number by 50,000. That's right. Get that number up there. All right. Now I want you to triple that number. Triple it more. Get it higher, higher, higher. Get it up there, higher, higher. More money to spend, more money to invest, more money to save. Triple it, double it, quadrillion it. Get that number up there. Add more zeros. Keep adding more zeros. Okay, get that number up there. All right, all right. Now let's bring it down to a number there where you're comfortable, right? Let's get the wealth thermostat back to where you're comfortable. All right, now open your eyes, and I can bet you now that number that you're comfortable with is higher than the number that you started.
Mine is way higher.
Exactly,
Mine is
exactly.
way higher.
And you got to program your mind for abundance. A lot
I
of us
think
have that
that's a
thermostat set.
very interesting experiment. So should one do that often or whatever?
Every day, every day until you feel abundant, because the problem is we don't feel abundant because we downplay ourselves. We think that we're not worthy, we think we don't deserve it. But if you think about it, you are the king's kid, right? We are a creation of God. You are God in the flesh, and so therefore you have abilities within your life to bring in whatever it is that you would like to have. A lot of us like to negate what we want by thinking we can't have it. So here's an example. I want $1 million. Oh, I really don't want to pay the taxes on $1 million. If I had $1 million, people would be calling me all the time, begging me for money, right? So how can I want the $1 million, but then think about all the problems that the
I
million
was
dollars?
going to say they're setting limits on themselves when they do that.
Exactly. Exactly. And we do this subconsciously all the time because we self sabotage. We go negative before we can go positive, and it's no fault of our own. I mean, we were programmed to
It's
go negative
programming.
first.
Yeah.
Right, right. It all stems from there. That's where it all stems from. It stems from whatever learned behaviors that you picked up through your home life, school, society at large, whatever that is. Peers, right? Friends have a lot of influence. And that's what you have to look at, the people that are influencing you and who you're being influenced by. Because I can guarantee you, none of those people have $1 million in the bank. None of those people have it even six figures. So if you want those things in your life, then you need to find people who have those things and start modeling behavior, right? Pick up those behaviors and patterns. And I love to talk about the future self because the future self is going to get you there. That's
What do
one
you
of my.
mean?
So we know that time, we like to think of time as a linear construct, but that ain't what's happening, right? The reality is everything is all happening now. And if you think about it, the way they talk about memory, because we always think about memory as like, oh, well, if I if I have something that happened to me, I'll put it in my file cabinet in my mind, and then I can just pull that memory out like a file
Hmm.
cabinet. That ain't
Hmm.
how that works. How the brain actually doesn't really store information. Okay. What happens is because we live in the eternal now, is that you're reconstructing whatever you think you saw at that point through through your emotions. So you assign things in your mind by how great of emotion it has to you. So, for instance, if a guy breaks your heart, right, you go through a tumultuous relationship, that's going to
Hmm.
get filed in that file cabinet in your mind. Let's per se, it's not really a file cabinet. Let's say that storage in your mind through your emotions. It's not the actual event that you're going to recall. You're going to recall the emotion that the event had you feel, right? And your mind is going to try to reconstruct the images, right, of what happened. And that's how you get stuck in that loop. It's actually the amygdala. The amygdala is the small little part of your brain that stores traumatic events, by via your emotions. And
Wow.
that's why I always tell people, be careful about how you're feeling because your emotions are your vibrational state. Your vibrational state is what's going to bring in whatever your thoughts are and manifest whatever it is in your life, right? So it all ties into one another. So the thoughts, the emotion, right? What am I thinking? What are my beliefs? And then what are the emotions behind those thoughts and beliefs? Because that is the key component as to why I am attracting what it is I am in my life.
So, Portia, let me ask you this. How did you get into this?
Well, it's always been a passion. Let me tell you, I think it's funny because I have a degree in computer science, so programming
Hmm.
computers. But then
Hmm.
I realized the mind could be programmed, and I was like, wow, you can program your mind.
True, true, true.
Right, that is the ultimate computer, and a lot of us don't even think to do that, right? We don't even think that because we think that the brain is just supposed to have thoughts and we're supposed to listen to the thoughts or follow through whatever thoughts that the brain has. But it is an organism, right? It's an organ in your body that has a function, and this function is to pick up signals, right? It's like a receiver of information. It cannot determine what the future is going to be for you. All your brain can do is be a record of the past for you. And so through past experiences, right, it's going to drum up stories, thoughts, and beliefs, even fears that it's going to deem to keep you safe. But it's not really keeping you safe. What it's doing is keeping you in the same environment because that's what it's familiar with.
Yeah, keeping you in check, so to
Right,
speak.
because you're familiar with this environment. If we go off being rich somewhere, I don't know what that looks like for me, so we're going to get really afraid of that. And it's okay. It's no, that's just a psychological fact that we have these natural fears that keep us in a stuck state because of comfort.
I was going to say that may explain. I've read a couple of articles every now and then of people that won these lottery numbers into the millions of dollars, and fast forward 5, 6, 7 years later, they just as broke as before they hit the lottery.
Right, right. And it is one of those things where if you didn't learn anything about money, then you'll never be able to hold on to it because of your beliefs. Because remember, it's all about your comfort level. Again, it goes back to that thermostat. So those people haven't learned to increase their thermostat. Yeah, they got lucky one day and they happen to hit a combination of numbers that allow them to win the lottery. But it's not winning the lottery, it's maintaining the money that comes with the challenge, right? It's not winning, it's not getting the money, it's maintaining and keeping the money. And people experience that even through wealth through generations. Think about the Gucci family, right? Let's talk about that. I know you guys have seen the movie, but they're not the first family. By the third generation, right? Usually the family no longer owns the company because they didn't learn how to keep the wealth within the family.
Uh-huh.
So it happens time and time again. And that's why more and more people are starting to set up structures for their family so they don't lose the wealth within the family, like trust. I'm a big proponent of trust. If you can get into a trust, I would definitely say that is the best thing you can do because you can operate under the trust and therefore you don't have to pay taxes. And you can, I mean, well, I'm not going to say you can't pay taxes, but taxes can be deferred. All your business dealings will be under the trust. So the key is to own and control everything and own nothing, right? And that's what a trust will allow you to do because you're creating a separate entity outside of yourself that has the same legalities as an individual that can run business, do everything that you can do as an individual, but it's no longer under your name, right? And that's what you don't want. You don't want anything under your name because that leaves a paper trail, that leaves a legal trail, and all that other good stuff. And some people think, oh, well, I can just get an LLC. LLC doesn't give you the protection that a trust will.
So, because I understand there's a revocable trust.
Irrevocable trust.
There's several kinds of trust.
Non sequitur, I think it's non sequitur, irrevocable trust is the one that you want to go for.
In
Right. And
other
there's only
words, whatever you say, if they don't like it, people can't get none of the. none of whatever's in the trust. I take it, right?
That's right. You want to leave it there for the family, let the money grow, and then you can do disbursements from your trust and whatnot. And again, it's all tax deferred, and then you can pay yourself from your trust, and you only pay money on the taxes that you pull from your trust, as income. But other than that, I mean, you can borrow money, all kinds of stuff. The trust laws are different from statutory law, contract laws, all other existing laws. When it comes to tax laws, trusts are like the exemption.
That's amazing. That is really, really amazing. Now,
Yeah, and there's a couple of things. There's a guy out of Dallas that he can set up family and business trust. I think the name of his organization is Trust Up. If you like, you guys can go to YouTube and look that up. But he has a very good ironclad trust setup. Of course, it's going to cost you a few $1,000s for him to set it up. Anytime you're talking about a trust, it's going to cost thousands of dollars. Sometimes you can find it about $5,000, depending on how good the attorney is. But you want one that is ironclad. Okay, so you want to
makes
make
sense.
sure.
Now, there is this thing they're now talking about. The term I'm hearing now is the de-dollarization, that the dollar bill is losing its luster, its purchasing power, and that people are now going to other modalities. One of them is cryptocurrency, which is a workshop you having coming up on the 19th of this month. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. It's funny that you should bring that up. Yes,
Yeah.
so we do
Please
have.
because there
Yeah.
are people who believe in crystal and cryptocurrency. Now they say banks are not down with it, but banks are setting up their own coins. So that sounds like a contradiction to me.
Well, Lloyd, they will tell you it's a sleight of hand kind of situation with the magician, is it not? When he does a magic trick, it's a sleight of hand. So you're watching this, and he's doing something over here, and that's what they have been doing to the American population for since the inception of this country, right? They have been deceiving us in many ways, especially when it comes to our money. And this situation should be no different. But if you're looking at the trend, if you're looking at the financial trend, you have to sit back and wonder to yourself, well, if crypto is a fad, then why are all these institutional investors all of a sudden, right, putting money
Well,
into this fad per se? If this is
exactly.
supposed to be a thing that's supposed to be going away like a little trend, then why are these people investing billions of dollars into this space? And so if you, I always tell people follow the money, because the money, it never lies, right? And so if these people are investing, creating ETFs, all kinds of funds, right, for institutional investors, because a lot of these investors, to get into these funds, you have to have $50,000 or more to invest. So they're already excluding the little man, right?
Hmm.
And so it's going to be that type of club, and eventually, because they already understand that Bitcoin is going to go up to $100,000. There's no way that it can't. See, the thing is, and this is an oxymoron, the dollar bill, because remember, dollar means a store of value, right? That we actually have value. But a bill, if I remember correctly, is something that I owe, right? Like if I have a bill, that means I owe money to somebody. So how can we have a dollar bill, right? That's an oxymoron. So let's think about that for a second. So
You
what
know,
are
when
they
you
telling
look
us
at it
here?
like that, that's true.
So let's think about this for a sec. So what are they telling me? Are they telling me that these dollars that I have are actually debt notes? Oh yeah, they are, because if I read it, what it actually says, that this is debt, right, for the U.S. government. It even tells you right there that you are carrying
Yeah.
debt notes.
Yeah.
So why don't more people read the money that they have? Oh, I forgot, because now everything is digital. They don't even have you touch money on a daily basis for you to even know that anymore. So, with that being said, the value of the dollar has been decreasing severely since 1972. And I don't even have to tell you, because you can go to your grocery store and look to see how much goods and services are costing you compared to where they were maybe 5, 10 years ago. So, with that being said, it's not the fact that the cost of the good or the service has gone up, it's the fact that the dollar's worth less. And so you're having to pay more. And that's why I am getting people more prepared for what's coming next, because there is going to be a little switcheroo with this money. See, I don't let the government slip up anything on me, because we already know that they never had our best interests at heart to begin with. What they're trying to do is suppress the masses from getting into the crypto space so they can get their hands into it, create some type of system where they can make people tie into it some kind of way. They haven't quite figured it out yet, because everything's on the public ledger when it comes to the blockchain, but they will. They
Yeah,
will. They'll
but I
figure out some kind of way.
understand that's the same thing with gold and silver.
Yes.
They're underplaying it, knowing, and some investment or TV shows have said, nah, gold is not. But under the original United States Constitution, money was defined as gold and silver, not fiat currency.
Not fiat currency, and they actually had this is legal tender for gold or silver. Actually, seeing those dollars with that actually on it. So that was actually one for one exchange when you had that type of dollar.
Yeah, that
But
was a
ever since
certificate.
exactly, it was actually a certificate that could be exchanged for the actual metal. But again, we had hijackers, right, that took our financial system over back in 1913, and ever since then, we've been dealing with fiat currency. But matters were made worse in the 70s by Nixon when he removed the gold standard, because now we don't. Now they can print as much money as they want to, and
Yeah,
that's why a lot of these countries are like, "Nah, y'all keep y'all dollars. Like that ain't worth nothing."
you know, that's interesting because 1971 added to 1809, and the year we're approaching is the nine. It,
Hmm.
Milhouse Nixon, the president that took United States off the gold standard, was born on the 9th of January. So it's very, very interesting, and things seem to be coming back a lot. So, how do people get into cryptocurrency? It seems like for something that's just digital, but I understand you can buy things, you can sell things, you can transfer things, um, and it, evidently nobody can own it, so to speak. Would I be kind of correct with that?
Well, you do own it per se. If
Other
you
than the
your
person
hard
who
wallet,
owns it,
right,
but I
it's in your possession. Right, long as it's stored on your hard wallet per se, you do own it in a sense. But then it just depends, right? Because there's two ways to hold your crypto. You can hold it on the exchange if you want to put it there, but again, you're leaving your money in other people's hands. Or you can, move it off the exchange and have it on a wallet, which is a soft wallet, which is a software wallet, which will be yours. Or you can have a hardware wallet. I think I showed you last time two different types of hardware wallets. This is one of them, which is a ledger.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can store it here
Hold
and
on
leave
one
it on
second. I want to put the full screen on you a second so they can see this wallet. Can you show it again,
Yes.
please?
Yeah. So this is the Ledger wallet. This is your hardware wallet that you can use to store your crypto on. So this is just one of them. It opens up like that. I'm not sure if I have
Would
this
that
one
be good?
charged.
Would that be
Oh,
like a
it's
flash
charged.
drive?
Yeah, it's something similar to a flash drive. It really is, but
Mhm.
it's kind of cool because you can enter in your PIN number, and once you put your PIN number in, you can select the currency that you want to add to it, because it has the different ones on here, not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, ICP. I mean, it has a variety of them on here. So whatever ones you want to store, you would store them on here, of course, through the application, and then I also have the Tangent wallets, which is this, like a credit card. So these are like little credit cards, and well, I don't have my phone right here, but I would just do this to the back of my phone, and then they would just load, and then I can see all the coins I have stored on these. And with Tangent, you can buy these in a pack of two or three. I actually have three. The third one's in my purse, but um, so these are like little storage, but it's like credit cards. And they even also have a ring now. I think it is Tangent. Tangent makes a ring now that you can store your crypto on if you want to store it in a hardware wallet,
What?
instead of storing, yeah. So there is so much to this space. And not only that, there's ways to make passive income in this space. The cell phone service that I'm using right now, I'm making money mining crypto for the cell phone company. So that'll be something that I'll mention in the class because I'm all about getting people to get some passive income, right? This is free money, free money out here, y'all. So let's go ahead and take advantage of that.
Now, hold up. You are doing something for the phone company?
Right. So Helium Mobile is the name of
I
the
mean, without revealing all your stuff, of course.
yeah. So they're the name of the phone company. So I will definitely put people on that when we have the class on the 19th. And for your viewers, I did run a special. The early bird special ended last month. It was $69. But just for your people to today and tomorrow, the sale's going to end at 11:59 tomorrow, October 8th. But I have the class for $79. So I would suggest for everyone to get their ticket now for the class at $79. And I always applaud those who take action first. I did have a couple of people who did buy the early bird special. So those are people that are near and dear in my heart because they're the ones that are taking action today to change their lives. And also, I want people to also think about this. This isn't just for you, right? This crypto class is not just for you. I know you're probably like, I'm not really into crypto. I don't want to learn that.
Yeah, I've
But what
heard
about
that.
your
I've
kids?
heard that
But what about your
all the
kids,
time.
right?
Hmm.
This is something that the younger generation will have to deal with, right? We're getting older in our time, right? But by the time your kids are grown, trust me, this is going to be a thing. And to get them involved now, because this class is open to the youngins, right? I want kids to attend this as well because they need to know this. They need to understand what the future of money is going to be and be one of the first few to be in this space so they can learn and also apply and also grow their wealth while we all have the opportunity to do that.
Well, here's my thing. See, can we give a tease about how to learn crypto safety? What do you mean? I mean, I guess like in anything, if you're not careful, people will rip your account off.
Won't they? Right? I mean, there's always people out there trying to come between you and your money. Right? There's always people out there trying to come between you and your money. And the crypto space being so new, there's so many people taking advantage of others. And so, what I'm talking about as far as safety is making sure that you're sending your tokens to the right wallet address because you need to make sure you're sending it to the correct address.
Yeah,
If you
that'll be
send it,
exact from what I understand. One
oh,
little you
you
won't
don't
get.
get it back. You
Yeah,
don't get it back. It's lost. It's lost. Trust me, I made that mistake, and that's why I'm here
really.
today. Yeah, yeah. I thought I had the right wallet address, and I was sending Sui. Sui was supposed to go to another address and sent it to the wrong one. And I called the company, and they were nice about it, but they were just like, "Oh, well, we can't do anything about that." Yeah, like you sent it to the wrong wallet. So bad, too bad, so sad.
Yeah,
Because
'cause I heard a guy had about a couple of $1 million in crypto, but he could not remember his password, and he could not have access to his cryptocurrency.
too bad, so sad. That's another thing, and that's what we talk about. The safety part of it is also learning how to have multiple copies of your passwords and also your keys, because you're going to need your keys in order to recreate your wallet if you need to, and not to just store it digitally. Like actually write it out somewhere in a notebook and keep it maybe in 2 or 3 spots. Um, and you know what's funny, Lloyd? I was listening to a podcast or this webinar where the lady was talking about, preparing for death and having a trust and doing all this other stuff. And she said that, oh, most people don't think about it, but nowadays you need to include like your wallet keys for your crypto, your logins, like your family members need to be able to have that when you pass away, and your social media logins. Like, dang, that's what we're doing now. Like we're making sure, right? So we want to make sure that we have those kind of copies because God
Wow.
forbid if something happens to you, right? People need to have access to that info.
There's a thing where you have hard wallet, soft wallet. What does
Wallet.
that mean? Can you just? It's not just on the whole thing. We want people to come and attend the workshop so they can get it.
Well, I'm gonna give them a little taste. I don't mind giving the people a little sample of the flavor that's coming to them on Saturday, October
Right.
19th. So,
Right. Good. No.
again, this is your hardware wallet. Your software wallet would be one that you would load on a browser, like MetaMask. MetaMask is a more popular crypto wallet that a lot of people use. So that would be a wallet that you could download to your browser and move your coins off of Coinbase. Let's say you have a Coinbase user and you want to move your coins from Coinbase. Well, you would move it to MetaMask if you don't have a physical hard wallet. Okay. So your MetaMask wallet would be your soft wallet. Now that's better, right? That's just a level over from having it on the exchange, but at least you have custody of your tokens, right? So for me, I would rather you have either a soft wallet or hard wallet, but do not leave it on the exchange because it goes back to what? Point number two, crypto safety. Because what happens if that exchange gets hacked, or worse, like FTX, it just crashed, right? It was all as fraud. So you
Now,
don't want to be in that kind of boat.
this is what I wanted to ask you also. What's the
Hmm.
difference between DEX and CEX? First of all, what does those three letters mean? What's the acronym for them?
Okay, DEX is decentralized exchange, whereas CEX is centralized exchange. And it all has to do with the terminology we call KYC, which is know your customer. So I think you mentioned to me, Lloyd, that you actually bought some crypto, and I think it's on Coinbase. Is that right?
Yeah, long ago. I
But when
don't even
you,
know how to use it.
okay, but let me ask you this. When you set up your account on Coinbase, didn't you have to upload your driver's license and verify you are who
I
you
believe I
are?
did, but it was some while ago. And because I am not tech savvy, I just let it there. I know I still have it, but in terms of how to buy something, transfer it to you or whatever, I'm at a complete loss.
Okay, well, the point I was making is that's a centralized exchange. Anytime that you have to identify yourself, right? They're not going to let you trade on their platform, buy coins or whatnot, unless you identify yourself, uploading some type of photo identity identification. Well, a decentralized exchange, it's not like that, right? You don't have to KYC, which is know your customer. You can actually trade on the platform and not have to verify not a stitch of who you are. And some people believe that this space was created to be decentralized, meaning that you shouldn't have to verify because they're not a bank. That's what the bank does. When you go open up an account, don't they verify you, get your ID and all this other good stuff?
If you want to
And
get
that's
some money out of there, yeah.
well, they damn near fingerprint you when you go to open a bank account, right? They want all forms of identification. They probably want to fingerprint you and do everything else. So that's the bank's mentality. This crypto space is not like that. Blockchain technology should remain free, but the government has a way of squeezing people, right, and making companies comply to their regulations. Just as a matter of fact, the guy that founded Telegram, which is a messaging service where people were on the platform messaging one another. Well,
Hmm.
he doesn't police Telegram, so people who were quote unquote criminals, drug dealers, and whatnot use Telegram. And so they detained him in France for that. And he was like, man, I just create the platform, let people use it however, I don't control it. But the government wants to put regulations on that, right? They want to see who's using your platform and all that stuff because they say it's under the guise of criminal activity.
That sounds crazy. On one hand, they say you can do this, but on the other hand, if you do that, then you're subject to arrest, which is
Correct.
which is kind of like a oxymoron, as you said a moment ago.
Yes,
That
correct.
makes no sense.
It
Um,
doesn't, but that's how our government is, right? They want to know everything that's going on anytime there's money involved. When they don't see money, they turn a blind eye, right? Just like with the drug situation when it started popping off in the 80s in LA, the government wasn't paying attention till they realized how much money was being made and how they weren't getting their cut, and that's when they started taking action
that's like
on it.
selling weed across the country. Before the night, we arrested people left and right. Now, I live here in Harlem, and you got weed places all over, and
Exactly.
so it's just kind of crazy how they do that. But also, you have a book that you've written on the subject, right? From
I
fear
did.
can you tell us about this book?
Yeah. So the book is basically people think that the book is about crypto, and it is in part, but really it's about upgrading your money mindset with crypto. Okay. Because the thing is, and this is where I want more people to understand. So when we go to get the milk out the refrigerator, don't you check the date to see had the milk expired or any kind of food? Right? We check expiration dates on those kind of things. But
Mhm.
why we don't check the expiration dates on our thoughts? Right? Because we could be thinking old thoughts that no longer serve us or even are applicable to today, right? So you need to check the expiration date on your thoughts because sometimes, we're stuck in the industrial age. We still have that old mindset. Oh, we go to school, you're going to get good grades, and then you're going to go to college and you get good grades there, and then you go on to get a good profession and blah, blah, blah. That was all well and good in the 1900s, but come on, y'all, we're in the 2020s now. And we all know that you don't need a degree in order to be wealthy, right? And the fact of the matter is, back in the day, right? The early 1900s, later part of the 1800s, most people were entrepreneurs, right? People were farmers, or
Mhm.
either they
Mhm.
owned some type of
Mhm.
shop or something like that. Right, the elite did a number on people during the industrial age where people traded being entrepreneurship for the security of a check, right? Come work for us. You know you're going to get paid because farming, that was a dicey business.
Yeah.
Depending on the season, you may not have had a
Yeah.
good crop and
Yeah.
might not have made any good money. But the
Yeah.
industrial age allowed people to have security of knowing that the money is going to be there, right? Regardless, right? They put in this amount of time, hours, they get the security of a check. And so that's what people traded entrepreneurship for back in the day. But it was all a ruse because if you think about it, it was all set up in order for you to be at the lower tax bracket for you to get taxed the most. Because who gets taxed the most in the tax bracket? The W-2 employee, not the
That's
entrepreneur.
I heard something the other day about, well, if the prices of a product or service goes up, they're going to pass it on to consumers. Why must everything be passed on to consumers? How come things can't be passed on to these multi-million, multi-billion-dollar corporations that's producing? I don't understand that. The consumer enough is hit hard enough as it is. There's practically no more middle class. Food is through the roof. rent, mortgages, car notes, insurance, everything of that through the roof. So why would you think if a company that's a multi-million dollar or multi-billion dollar operation would want to pass that? Well, let the consumer deal with that.
Well, because the motivating factor is the money and greed. Greed will corrupt you, and you will kill right for the money, and that's what a lot of corporations, like for instance, Boeing. Boeing is one of the largest manufacturers of airplanes, right? And they wanted to keep up with Airbus, and so, but they didn't want to spend the money on building a whole new plane, so they took an older model and added a few new parts to it and try to rebrand it as a new type of plane. Well, there were a couple of fatal plane crashes that happened in other countries, and Boeing was pointing the finger at everybody else but themselves. When it all
Yeah.
came back to their faulty equipment that they said they upgraded on this plane, and they didn't want to spend the money on redesigning the plane because that would have hurt it bottom line. But yet, hundreds of people had to die.
But then those relatives are going to sue the bazookas out of them, right? No.
Well, they can, but the CEO's not going to get punished. Who goes to jail? No one goes to jail when it comes to things like that. Right? No one ever gets punished. I mean, I've never seen a case where a CEO goes to jail for murdering hundreds of people because they're always pointing the fingers. Now, the engineers at Boeing were telling the people at top, that they needed to do this and that, but they weren't trying to hear it because that was going to cut into the bottom line. And that's what I'm saying. Like, no one has your best interest but you. Right? These corporations, the level of greed and whatnot is just through the roof these days, right? They only care about the dollar and they're willing to step on their mama to get to it. Now, when you brought up something very interesting in the way that you were describing things, as far as there was no money, things being tight, people being greedy, well, again, it's all about how you're filtering things and how you're perceiving things. Because we don't ever want to pick up on all the negative things that's going on around us, because then
Hmm.
you're going to see more of that. That reticular activating system in your mind, right? That filter, that bias perception that we all have, because we filter the world through our beliefs,
That makes
right?
a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you filter the world through your beliefs. And so if you think money's hard to come by, or prices are high, or you don't have enough money for X, Y, and Z, well, guess what? You're filtering these things. And so you're going to filter out things until you get to the situation that matches what you think.
This person here says consumers don't create value.
We do create value. Those companies need us. If we didn't buy their goods or services, they wouldn't be in business. And that's the one thing that I try to get a lot of employees to see, because when you go into, like, say, McDonald's or Burger King, employees all behind the counter with a nasty attitude. And why is she nasty with you? Because if you didn't come there to support that establishment, she wouldn't have a job, right? There'd be no money. So we have value. It's just that we put our money into the wrong things. We don't put our money into income producing assets. That goes back to what I talked about the first time I was on the show, about making sure that if you're going to burn your time and energy at a job, make sure that the money that you get from the job is actually going towards something that's going to pay you back in return, right? Because we all
Yeah.
get caught up in that consumer trap.
Well, and speaking of that, back in the day, I would hear like my grandparents, the standard thing was you would work 25 years, get a so-called gold watch and retire. A lot of that seems to be changing. In
Pension
fact,
plans out the door, right? Somebody came up with a really, really big idea of a 401k.
and everything is now taxable when you release it. So it's tax for this, tax for that, it's tax for everything practically. And it just so when does the person kind of like kind of see some breathing room, some daylight, if that makes sense?
Well, you can, and all again, it depends on what you put value in. Again, money is great. It's nice to have. You can do a lot of things when you have money. That's all well and good. But you have to start where you are. Where you are today is where you are. And if you can accept where you are and be honest with yourself, right? Don't beat yourself up, right? It's okay, right? You might have made some bad decisions in the past, some bad financial decisions or what have you. That's okay, right? Because that's what got you here today. And see, people, they fail to realize that there's beauty in challenges. There's beauty in
Mhm,
overcoming them,
mhm.
right? It's a setup for a comeback, right? And that's what you think about. You think about your comeback, not your downfall. Think about how you're going to show up bigger and better this time, right? Not how you failed last time. And again, it depends on what your thoughts are, because those bad thoughts that keep you stuck will always keep you stuck. And so it's about learning to trust your intuition and making a step forward, knowing that you are making the right step, even though it may seem scary, because on the other side of that fear is success. And that's what we don't realize that. We don't realize on the other side of fear, there's success. We just need to get over that.
Wow. I just think it's amazing how we will literally block our own blessings by our thoughts. You
Yeah.
know,
You would think yourself way out of a situation really quick. You
yeah,
will, and it happens real. And then also, other people are dream thieves too, because you might go to a family member with with an idea. Ah, that ain't gonna ever work. And then you're like, oh, and then you get to thinking about how all the ways it won't work, and now they have stolen your dream. So sometimes, if you are doing something for yourself, keep it to yourself until you can see some results. And once you have results, then show your friend or family. Look, I started this. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but I'm starting to get some results with this. Come take a look at it. Then they'll be impressed, right? But if you go to somebody with your dream and you haven't started on it, they're going to shoot it down.
Sonia Ross says, if you can't attend the class on the 19th, will there be another one soon?
I may upload the replay for purchase. Okay, so I might do that. So you may have access to the replay after class on the 19th. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, good. And Jazz Aphrodite makes it clear that this is where you can go to the site for the crypto class. Now,
Yes.
you also have something else coming up too that we're going to get a little preview, which is this. Can you tell us? Hold on, let me get the comment out.
Okay, so I am
Good.
a money mindset coach, and so I do work with people overcoming their thoughts and beliefs. But part of it, I was thinking was maybe I need to teach some people some techniques that they can learn in order to build their wealth as too. So that's the reason why I'm doing the basic crypto class, and this is the reason why I came up with how to invest in real estate without buying property. Because a lot of people have the misconception that you have to have a whole lot of money to buy real estate, have to have tens of thousands of dollars to put down and all this other good stuff. Not so, my friends. Not so, right? There's ways of investing in real estate where you can get started today and then proudly call yourself a real estate investor. Now, the easiest way, and I'm going to break it down by order of difficulty, but the easiest way would be to get into a real estate investment trust, which is a REIT. I will show you how to find a dividend paying REIT, because most REITs will, some of them pay monthly, some of them pay quarterly. So it just depends. And then a rate of
This
return.
word you say, reaps, who's he?
A REIT is a real estate investment trust. So the
I
first
see.
bullet point is called a REIT, real estate investment trust. That's the acronym for it.
Okay.
And so with that, you can get started in investing in real estate like today. So that would be the simplest way of getting started. But then we're going to talk about a little bit more complicated methods as well, like wholesaling. Wholesaling takes a little bit more involvement, but if you're willing to put in the time, wholesaling can be lucrative. I know I've made tens of thousands of dollars wholesaling property on my own, but you just need to know how to find the distressed homeowners and then find investors that you can sell the property to.
Wow. That sounds and let me ask you this. You
Mhm.
can deduct certain things when you own a home, but you can deduct nothing when you rent. Is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, not unless you're renting for business reasons, right? If it's an office lease or something like that, then yeah, you can write that off all day. But when it's personal use, you don't get any tax breaks really, even when you own a home. Only thing you can write off is the interest, really. So
And
that's it.
I thought it would be the interest and the tax. No, what there were two things you used to do, right? One was
Mm-mm. Only thing, because back in the day, Ronald Reagan changed the tax laws to where home ownership was the benefit of owning a home was so that you can write off your taxes.
yes,
Yeah, right off the interest. I'm sorry, not
yes,
right off the
that's
taxes,
right. The
right off the
interest.
interest, the
Yeah.
interest off the mortgage payments. Because back in the day, everybody could do that, and he changed it to where investors couldn't do that anymore. Now they can write off their interest on their income producing properties, and you get more tax breaks when you have an income producing property. And therefore, it goes back to myth number 101, where they're saying owning your home is your biggest asset. It is not an asset, it's the bank's asset. How's the bank's asset? Because you owe the bank money, right? They're making money off your house, you're not. Okay. So your home is actually a liability. Say it with me, guys. Liability. My home is a liability. It is not an asset. If you live there, it is not an asset. You cannot pay yourself to live there.
So if a person's hearing that for the first time, would that be kind of like depressing? Like, oh man, you know?
It is what it is. That's all I can tell you, right? I didn't write the law, right? I'm just telling you what the laws are. It is not that. Now, if you want to go get something that is an asset, then that means it's an income producing asset. And that's why I am pushing for people to take this crypto class, because these cryptocurrencies are assets, right? They're going to go up in value, especially Bitcoin, Ethereum. They're all going to hold value because only so many of them will ever be made or be in circulation. So that is a store of value. The dollar that you have, it is not an asset. That's the reason why people who have money, they don't store their money in the bank. They go buy income producing assets. As a matter of fact, that was one of the first rules that they talked about. And Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? I love Robert Kiyosaki's book because he breaks down those two mindsets very distinctly. And one of the things that Rich Dad always did was have income producing assets. If he wanted to go buy a car, which was a liability, he'd go buy an asset first to pay off the liability.
Well, a lot more people need to start thinking like that. That's for sure.
Right, and we don't. And Tony Robbins says something very important too, as relates to entrepreneurship. He said entrepreneurship is the closest thing to spirituality, because when you're an entrepreneur, you do have to dig deeper and find something greater than yourself that's going to propel you to the next level. And it is mainly get in contact with your higher self that's going to help guide you and help you make those good business decisions, and also sustain you in difficult times, because there are going to be times of difficulty. We all go through cycles. Every day is not going to be a sunny day. It never is outside, is it? So we need to learn how to sustain and then get over limiting beliefs that are keeping us from the success that we want. And sometimes, people can do it on their own, where they can see it themselves and be able to overcome it. But other time, and most often, I should say, you do need the help of someone to help you identify those limiting blocks to help you get over and get to the next level.
Stephen E says she knows her stuff. A bull run is coming up next year.
Yep.
What does that mean?
That means it's time to fill your bags up, right? Right now, the market bull, when it's a bull market, that means that prices are high. It's time to sell. Bear market means bear down. Oh, this is how I think of those markets: bear down and bull up, right? So when the market is down, that's called a bear market. And when we have a bear market, you want to sit there and you want to fill up your bags. When the bull market comes, that means that the prices are higher now. Now it's time to sell. And you got to know what market you're in order to set up how you're going to play your next move. Now, again, I love the fact that you can trade crypto, but that's not the only thing crypto is for. I mean, you can do so much with this space; it's just ridiculous. As I mentioned, you have cell phone companies, you have video games, right? They have a whole lot of gaming on crypto. There's a lottery that you can play. There's other devices and things like they have nodes, GPS servers, and things like that they have on crypto, well, on the blockchain. So there's so many different things that you can do. You're not just limited to trading. So I want people to understand that, because most people think that, oh, I'm gonna get into crypto, I'm gonna start trading. This is like stocks. It doesn't have to be that. Okay, you don't have to get into the space for that.
This gentleman, Stephen E, says, "Can you stake your crypto too?" What does he mean?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
does
That
it mean?
means staking means you're providing liquidity to other token providers, and they in turn, pay you for staking your tokens. Basically, you buy your tokens, but then you give it back to them in order for them to lend out your tokens, or for them to have asset. And then from there, while they're holding your tokens on their platform, they pay you out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's so many ways that you can do this, and there's ways of getting the crypto, and that's what another thing that I'm not going to talk about this in the basic crypto class, but the ultimate goal is, once you earn, right, the money or off of the coin that you invested in, or got profit from it, you
Hmm.
take that and either buy more Bitcoin or you go buy gold, right? You want to flip that extra money that you've gotten off of that investment into more Bitcoin or more gold, because those are the assets that are really going to have more value than anything else. And silver. There's ways of buying gold and
Precious metal.
silver. Hmm? Precious
You
metal.
refer to what they call precious metal.
Right. So you take your digital currency and go buy precious metal. Right. So that's what you want to go do. right? So you want to go buy a tangible asset with it because again, this is all digital. Somebody pulls the plug, what's going to happen, right? We don't know. What if it's a major power outage? I mean, I don't know what's going
It
to
all
happen.
disappeared to crypto heaven or whatever the case is.
Exactly, exactly.
You can't get
So
back.
the safe thing to do would be to have something tangible, which would be gold.
You know what's interesting? I'm having a gentleman on this Wednesday
Hmm.
from Brazil who is in the United States here in Brooklyn, New York City, and he's going to be talking about precious metal, which is gold and silver. That's so
Uh,
interesting
I will be
because
tuning in.
I understand with this the fiat dollar, which means the dollar. If you heard Robert Kiyosaki talk about what the dollar bill, what he can do with the dollar bill as far as he's concerned, that the dollar bill is nothing, but he is into silver, he's into gold, and he's into crypto. And it seems that those powers that be hold these things in addition to the fiat dollar. And then they talk about the stock market and the COMEX. These are all words I hear. I don't quite understand all the lingo of it, but I do know that people are looking at the areas of crypto, which is why you are here, and also gold and silver, which is why the gentleman is going to be here on Wednesday to talk about it. But he's going to take a spiritual look at it, somewhat like you do with money. How does
Yes,
mindset, how to close your eyes, and whatever that money is, just take it higher, 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 higher. And I guess that gets the subconscious mind used to going beyond your
abundance.
ceiling of $50,000, and I'm good.
Hmm. You're breaking that barrier, right? Each time you do it, you're breaking that barrier, and you're actually getting yourself in a more abundant state. I had a lady do this in the workshop, and I asked her how did she feel about how did she said my imagination opened up when I did that, right? So it gets that imagination flowing because it is your imagination that's going to bridge the gap to your future or what you want to do in your future. So we need to really open ourselves up to more abundance, and that's the only way that we can do that is to program the mind for that, right?
Now,
And also see those opportunities.
Fire Goddess says, what about common law pure trust? What does that mean? When the patients are not married, because I know common law means we living together, not married.
No, no,
That's
I wouldn't trust. I don't know too much about that one, but the fact that it said common law, that would throw a red flag up for me, right? Because I'm not sure what the common law piece would have to do with that. Because trusts have their own laws, right? They are their own. You don't need common law for that. So I don't know if that trust would be affected by some type of local law or something from the state. But I wouldn't. Like I said, I don't know too much about it. I would definitely look into that before I go set up that type of trust because you want an irrevocable non sequitur trust. And I know one person, I know for sure this one guy out of Dallas does them. And not a lot of attorneys know much about trust. They might say, oh, we do trust, but or is it the ironclad, the one that's going to keep you and your family out of probate court whenever you pass away, right? Because people think, oh, well, I'll have a will and everything will go to my family the way it does not, because it still has to go through court system. Anytime you get the courts involved, they can decide to do whatever because that's when your creditors get to
they
pile
take
on,
their sweet time too.
and then your creditors are going to get paid off before your family gets whatever you left to them. So if you have debt and whatnot, all that's going to get paid off before little Jimmy even see a dime or whatever you left to him. So, we need to think smarter. And then some people think living trust are fine, but if you're going to have property, it'd be probably better to put in a land trust. But I don't. That way it doesn't go through probate, right? So there's ways of avoiding that, but you definitely want to think of these things right while you're still here, because that's the one thing about the game of life. Nobody ever gets out of it alive. And even though death may be a macabre topic, it's one that we all need to talk about because people are leaving here left and right. I don't care if you're young or old.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to. At first, when you were young, you thought maybe just people past a certain age, but now people, younger people, when you least expect it, like why should they? They even talked about how now the younger generation of people in their 20s and 30s are having more cancers than it was given when people was in their 60s and 70s and 80s.
Exactly. And I'll never forget this. I know this happened a long time ago, but it really threw me for a loop and still does when FloJo died because I thought she was the healthiest woman ever.
Oh,
Here
the
she is.
track star, yes.
Yeah, and I was like, man, anybody can die because I think maybe she must have been what 35 or she wasn't born
Yeah,
when she
very
passed
young.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
yeah.
wasn't. She wasn't. And so that's to my point. My point is we don't know right when that time is going to happen. So if you have little ones that you want to make sure that are taken care of, I would definitely look into maybe doing a trust or something that's going to protect them in the long run. especially you plan on leaving property to them.
Now, there is one thing before we wrap this up, and you said that when they're going for a trust, they got to make sure they get the kind of lawyer and or accountant. Can you explain that? In other words,
Right there.
you're getting
Well,
in, I take it.
I know that there is a guy out of Dallas that does this particular trust. I'm not sure if anybody else does. And if you give me a second, I can pull up the actual title of the trust.
While you're doing that, there it was
Uh-huh.
one person that made a donation that I just caught, so I want to acknowledge them.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you so
That's Mary
much.
Harris, and she's a Taurus like you.
See, that's my girl. We
Yes, she says her
Tauruses, we're
Venus
all
is
about the money,
rising,
honey.
her Virgo is in rising. Her
Uh-huh.
birthday is 2:18 p.m., which means it's in the, if I'm not mistaken, it would be in the one, two, it would be actually in the eighth house. That's where her son would be. What did you mean to stay on the drama on the 18th and the 19th? I'm trying to figure out what did you mean for signs to stay out of drama on the 18th and 19th, avoiding scandals? I guess it's probably from my cosmic report that I do every day on my uh, a Star 8 app, my mobile phone app, because I do a daily report that people can see the aspects. Um, I don't think I know I haven't done the 18th and the 19th because I'm not there yet, so I don't quite understand. But anyway, I will say this: you,
Hmm.
Mariah, are a Taurus 6 person. It means that your key or most important numbers are always a 6, 3, and 9. With her being an Earth sign with an Earth number, and Taurus, the second house rules the house of property and possessions and monies and finances and homes. I would say it's going to be very, very interesting for her, especially as she goes into next year too. But anyway, those
I
are her.
know our next year is really going to be a telltale sign of are we willing to let go and release things that are no longer serving us? Because with that nine coming up, a lot of us are going to be challenged to make changes, you know,
Especially those that are resistant to change. But the only thing that's
hmm
constant is change.
and that's the funny thing. People don't realize that the only thing that is constant is change. Because if that were not the case, you would be wearing diapers today, right? Right? If there wasn't a change, you still have on diapers. So, and it's
That
funny
is
how
so
we
true.
get set in our ways, thinking that what's familiar is safe, and but that's not the case. What's familiar is never safe, because it's not serving you,
Now,
especially when you need to make changes.
now here, E. Book says, which providers would you recommend for life insurance, or is it better to have a trust fund? Good question.
Oh well, that's out of my wheelhouse, so I'm not going to answer that question. I'm not, giving financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor in any kind of way. So I don't want to mislead anybody down that path.
Okay, well, you know what I respect? I'm the
Hmm?
same way. If I don't know, I do not get into areas for which I do not know and try to act like I know. That's the most
Right,
important thing.
right. I know some stuff, but I don't know everything, and I don't want people to get the misinformation and come back and say, "Well, she said that." Mm-mm, no, she didn't.
Oh,
So,
by the way, this is quote you. How long is your course?
how long is the course?
Yes,
Well,
the
I'm going to try to keep it.
cryptocurrency course as well as the real estate course. The one that's coming up on the 19th and the other one that's coming up in November.
Well, I try to keep it about no more than 3 hours, maybe four at the most. So
Oh, it's a
maybe
one day.
from hmm.
It's a 1 day course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a 1 day virtual course. So the workshops mostly 4 hours at the max, I would say. But I don't know if I put a time, end time on that, because sometimes people have questions, and I knew that with the crypto one, people were going to have some questions. Um, so I didn't really put an end time to that, but 4 hours normally at the most.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't find this thing. Just when I'm looking for it, that's when I can't find it. But either way,
Isn't that always the case? As soon as we
yes.
stop, it'll be here like, where you been? So anyway, this is Porcha Cooper, um, and she's a money mindset coach, author, lecturer, a beautiful, beautiful woman that we met in actually in New Orleans, right?
Yeah, we met last year at the conference, and
Officially in
so
August. It was in August of last year.
that's
So
right.
Bloom bloomlife.me is your web address, your site. She also has an Instagram called Bloom Life Coach.
Dot coach.
Coach. And your Cash App is dollar sign Venus Black BLAQUE. and her PayPal.me/Porcha, Porcha. Would that be correct?
Yes, that is right, Lord, and I want to thank you. Also, I want to mention to everybody that the sale for the class that's coming up on October 19th, the Basic of Crypto, is going to be on sale until 11:59 tomorrow, right, p.m. Because again, I ran the $69 special all last month, and like I said, those who take action always will get rewarded justly. So if you're looking to take this class, if you really want this information, you'll go ahead and sign up as soon as possible. Um, After tomorrow, the class does go up in price, so just be prepared to pay more if you pay after October 8th. Okay.
So, in other words, you're saying it can't be said we didn't have this conversation.
Exactly, because I love my people. I'm trying to get y'all in. And again, this is not just for you. This is for the family. This is for the kids because this is not going anywhere, right? This cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, all that good stuff is not going anywhere, y'all. It is here to stay. So you
And
might
then
as
in
well get to
November,
learn how to profit from it.
and then in November, maybe somebody can treat themselves to a nice Christmas present to know how to purchase property without having to go through all the process and expectations that we think of coming up with a 15-20% down payment and all these other things. You're saying that a person could actually purchase property. How did you explain it
Invest.
about
They can
this?
invest. They can invest in real estate without having a lot of money. And that's my point. I want people to start investing, right? And a lot of people say they want to invest in real estate, but they don't know how to get started. So this is a class that allow you to get started with little to money down or money invested, I should say, and to getting into real estate and investing your money. And another thing that I want to point out is that this is on an early bird special for $99 until November 1st. So I would highly suggest go ahead and getting your seat now for this class, and that way you don't pay more in November. So November 1st, up until November 1st, is $99. And again, the crypto class is for everybody. So I encourage you to bring your family and this as well, right? Because this is family oriented information. This is not just for you. Involve your kids, involve your spouse, right? Because this is something that you guys can learn and grow together.
Well, I'm going to have you back in November just to remind people about this. I hate to keep dragging you back on, but we need to get these things straight about the finances.
And I
Also,
chose the 23rd too, Lord, because of the five. Five equals change, right? Change and freedom.
yes,
People
it
say
is.
they want more money, they want freedom. And then 23 is the number of honor, fortune, and fame. So, I mean, the day is a great day for that class.
Well, you know how to do your homework. And let me say you, this is your book that's available on Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. So you can get a copy of Fiat to Digital, Upgrading Your Money Mindset. I'm going to read just something really quickly out of the book because it pertains to the class. The future of finance is exciting and full of new ideas. We're moving away from traditional banks and exploring new ways to manage money. Blockchain technology is used to create financial systems that are open to everyone, and this means that anyone with the internet connection can participate, right? So if you have an internet connection, guess what? You can join that class Saturday, October 19th.
And by the way, for people who can't buy the book, they can also download the book. Is that correct?
Yes, they can also go to my bloomlife.me and they can download an e-copy. But if you want the physical copy of the book like this, then I would suggest going to Amazon and then maybe searching by my name, and you'll be able to find the book there for a physical copy.
Don't you feel good when you can do something like that and pass knowledge on that people can read? And, it must be a good feeling, Portia. It must be a real good feeling.
It is a good feeling that I want to help others and make sure that everybody gets up, right? This is an opportunity. We will never have an opportunity like this again in our lifetime. We're in a new day and age. We're in what's called the digital age, and I need people to get with the times and not get left behind.
A lot of people are going to be left behind,
It's
unfortunately, if they don't
unfortunate.
know how to really change their mindset. I'm one of them. I mean, I know how to get on my computer and do a article or something like that, but the other things I need to know, I think would be to my advantage too.
Okay, I'll see you in class October 19th, and Lloyd, I will
Okay,
see you
good,
there.
good. And listen, Portia, I want to thank you so much. Love you so much, hon. Thank you
Love
so,
you too.
so much.
Thank you so much for having me
And
on.
we will be
Peace and
back on
blessings,
in November.
everybody.
Yes. And by the way, this is
Thank you,
her.
Jazz, for moderating.
Oh, yeah, she's the best. And for those of you, this is her class coming up very, very soon on the 19th. So be there. All right. It's a 1 day course. It's right now on. By the way, how much you say the course is?
Well, the course right now is $79, but we'll be going up after October 8th. So go ahead and get your seat today, right now.
October 8th is like in tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Right. It goes up because remember, I ran the early bird special all last month and I did have a couple of people buy. At the early bird special was $69. So now they're getting it at 79. And then after October 8th, it's going to go up to its regular price, which is $99.
Alrighty. Well, you heard it here. You heard it from the source. Okay.
So those who take action get justly rewarded. So if you're looking to take this class, I would highly, highly recommend you get it now at the $79 while you can.
And you get a nice piece of knowledge too.
Oh, for it. And then I'm going to throw in some bonus content too that's going to help you with getting some passive income in crypto too. So, I got some tricks up my sleeve that we're going to talk about during that class too.
Well, with you being a Taurus, I don't know why I would be surprised. Okay.
I'm going to help you get to that bag now.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. And thanks for all the sharing of your
Thank
knowledge and
you.
wisdom. I really appreciate this too. Okay.
Same here. I feel the
Okay.
love and support. And thank you guys. And peace and blessings to everyone in the chat. And
That's
take care.
automatic when it comes to love and support. That's automatic. Thank you, dear. All righty.
Thank you.
So everybody, I hope you got it. So listen, this is it coming up or early later this month. Please take advantage. It was 69, then it'll be 79. If you fool around and wait to like the day before, whatever, you're gonna have to pay the full price. But this is it here. Take a screenshot, whatever you need to do, and lock that in. And then we'll have her back on to talk about how to invest in real estate without having to actually physically own real estate. And I understand they're over and above crypto, over and above precious metals and whatnot. One of the things is to own is a lot of real estate, such as Robert Kiyosaki. He's got about 1,500 houses and stuff like that. It's kind of like ridiculous. But anyway, that's it. But I do want to let you know that all of my sponsors, this has been brought to you by King Simon, my buddy, who is this coming weekend is honoring a special ancestral tribute to Baba Dick Gregory and his other special guests that you see there, Baba Ashari and Miri Kuwaisi. I hope I'm pronouncing the names correctly. Also, I want to thank also Nicholas Brooklyn for their 50th anniversary. And also, I do want to thank Miss Kimberly for Manifest on Purpose. And you can go and see her podcast on KIMBALEY.com. That's KAMBALEY.com. Check that out. And also, I want to also thank Riza Islam for allowing me to promote his wonderful intellectual powers. This supplements is like really, really good. And by the way, at the end of the month, King Simon will be on Nicholas Brooklyn too, to talk about having this wonderful event. But as for this Wednesday, I'm going to have this distinguished gentleman. He is in town. He resides in Brazil, but his name is Nkuru Ninkuru, and he is going to be talking about the power of precious metals in the green and in the whatever it is. But anyway, he's going to be on talking about it. And so I, by the good fortune of Sister Kafunya, bless her soul, she's made the arrangement before this gentleman goes back to his home in Brazil to talk about that. So it should be a very interesting insight. So we've had LaPortia talk about the crypto. Now he's going to be talking about the precious metal of gold and silver. And believe it or not, the U.S., if you look at the original U.S. Constitution, they told you that money comes in the form of gold and silver, not fiat currency. So anyway, I want everybody to please sign up for my monthly newsletter. It is absolutely free. It is just the 7th day of October, so please take advantage of it. For those of you who read the newsletter, if you want to, you can hear the audio version of it on YouTube. And there you'll see it right there. It is hosted by Miss Kimberly Williams and myself. We do this every month. It's just been a ritual that started. For those of you who want to sign up for my Star 8 app, there's some questions that's come in. Any questions you have concerning the app and some features of it, please send it to a star 8 llc at gmail.com, a star 8 llc at gmail.com. I'll pass it on to my developers. And if you want to just download it direct, just go to a star8.com. Just that simple. And then when you do download it, please give it 5 stars if you how you feel. All right. So everybody, I want to thank you. And again, Wednesday, we're going to find out the benefits of ownership of precious metals. Okay. And see what that's about. And I'm sure he's going to have some very interesting insights to share because he's actually going to be live at Nicholas, Brooklyn this Saturday on the 13th. Okay. So for those of you who are in the area, you can go there, but it's going to be interesting. So it was crypto. Now it's precious metals. And then after that, in November, it's going to be real estate. So it can't be said on my show, yes, I do numbers, but numbers come in all forms, but this is going to be the best numbers to have. So all of you have a blessed day. You take good care. And thank you for all your comments, all your valuable time, because you could have been doing something much better, but you spent it with me. So that I'm truly honored and truly grateful. So all of you have a very nice day and take care of yourselves. And I will see you, as they say, in 48 hours. Okay.